All right, good afternoon, guys. Thanks for tuning in to the Big Blue Bandito channel, and want to give you guys all a shout out for tuning in, and I really appreciate all the views on the initial walk around on one of my medium duties here. Today is the day we are going to introduce you to one of my favorite, or my most favorite out of the fleet, the modified 61. So that is out front, but before we head out there, I thought we would do a quick update on the removal of the rotten grain bed on the 60. So let's flip the camera around, and before we get to the truck, I'm going to show you something in a little treat I found here between the last time we were on here and now. So hang tight, here we go. And here it is. Some hidden treasure on Facebook Marketplace. We've got layers of Bondo, layers of paint. The funny thing is this blue right here is very similar to this blue here. I'm not going to use that hood on this truck, but when we go take a peek at the 61 out front, you'll see what my plans are here. One thing I did forget to mention on my initial video of the walk around was kind of a brief discussion on stocking some of the harder to find parts, or yeah, just some of the more uncommon parts, and if you have an opportunity to buy them at a decent price, I've kind of been stockpiling them, one of them being the 60 to 61 hoods, and we know that by the lenses and the grill. So again, this thing was listed at $350. I threw an offer out of $50 because I had a feeling nobody would jump on this item, and the guy that I bought it off of allowed, or kind of listed, he kept dropping the price every few days, and it ended up at $100, and it still didn't go. So he got back in contact with me, and I was able to acquire this. And again, things I look for are the hard to find original parts. These lenses are very hard to come by in decent used condition. So for what I paid for the hood, I'm sure the lenses are, the park lights alone are worth that. So I'm very happy with this, and we're going to get a plan to get this hood cleaned up, maybe repainted, and slapped onto the 61 that you're going to see shortly. So let's take a stroll out there and grab a comfy chair and some popcorn, because you're not going to want to miss this one. Okay, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here. Before we walk out front, as you can see, we have stripped the grain bed down to the rails, and it is looking good. My initial plan is to shorten the bed by 1 foot. I think it's a 12-foot frame, and it'll end up being 11 feet. And I'm still thinking along the lines of finding a fleet side bed and kind of carrying that body line down here, and trying to find another fender. Rather than the step side 60 to 66 fenders, I want to find another truck part, or truck that has parts that are suitable to incorporate in the rear fenders, and kind of cut it off at likely the 11-foot mark, and use this as a functioning tilt bed, but it's going to look kind of like a stock application. So I'm excited about that. I don't know how to weld, but I will either find somebody to help me, or I will dabble in that, which I'm leaning more towards option 1, but we'll figure that out. So anyways, that is the quick update on the grain bed. Very happy with that. And this is, I guess you saw the pile here, but quite a bit of material that came off that truck. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to salvage anything, but we'll see how that goes. Okay, anyways, let's head out front. Okay, we are on our way out, but of course Here's a sneak peek at another medium duty that we will do a little bit of a tour on. Give you the sneak peek glimpse for now. 1960 Chev 60 series, really rough shape, but we'll get into that one. Here's another little treat, Pontiac Le Mans, but here we are. There we are, 1961 GMC 950, similar to the one you saw in the backyard. Difference here, this is a retired grain truck, I would call it. We have a fuel cell, we have somewhat of a rat rod fender system going on, truck tail lights, extra GMC emblem, brand new tires, customized fender brackets, lights into the frame. This one's got a big door dent, not a big deal. I'm used to it by now. But this one has been driven for about, I'd say I think here 3 years or so. So it's driven in winter. It's not as clean as when I first acquired it. You can see the rust, surface rust coming back. Rusty rims, but you may ask why the orange hood. Well, I had an unfortunate incident driving down the highway at 60 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour, and the hood latch gave way. So the original hood is damaged for now. I'm going to see if I can repair that. But in the meantime, let's start with the good stuff. Here we have my homemade security straps down into the radiator. And again, this one is not as clean as the one we walked around in the backyard. I don't know what's going on, but we have chrome bezels in a painted grille. We have a blue and white bumper. As you can see, this thing has been used. Pulling out tractors, pulling out equipment, who knows? If this thing could tell stories, I'm sure we would enjoy those. You know what, still pretty straight body considering. Let's get under the hood here. I'll pause it again and crack these straps open and we'll take a peek. All right, are you guys ready for this? Dun, 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 dun. Yes, the GM Vortec. Yes, what can we say about this? We have a 5.3 liter out of a 2002, I believe, GM truck or van, I'm not too sure. We have got rid of the hydro boost setup, and we have a GM 4 discs vacuum boost, whatever you want to call it, master cylinder, running the original drum brake drum system. We have the original radiator in this unit cooling the 5.3. We have a single belt running the alternator. What else can I tell you? This thing purrs, this thing moves. It's I don't know, stock probably 290 horse. Let's call it 300 for argument's sake, and we're putting that to a 583 rear differential gear ratio, and it's originally a 2-speed rear truck, but it is set to be in the 583 position. The low gear on that is 811, so it is drivable on the highway, which is a nice treat. And I find this truck to be very unique because I've seen a few guys drop diesel engines in here, but you know what, I like GM. Let's keep it GM, gasoline powered. In my opinion, this is how this truck should have came from factory, with one of those 5.3s. But the shop that did this did a very nice job. Very clean setup. We've got an ancillary fuse panel on the firewall. We are running the original heater core system from this engine, and that functions very well in the winter. You've got your primary vacuum line here going to the back of the engine. This thing brakes very well. What else can I tell you? I think we're running a 4L60E transmission, so anytime I'm on the road, this thing is in overdrive. I think off the top of my head, about 60 mile an hour is, call it 2,500 RPM. So a little bit higher RPM running than a typical GM if this was in a newer GM, but I can't complain because I can get that top end that I need to be able to actually feel safe and drive this thing on the highway. So we are going to fire this up, but I'm going to save some other treats for this truck. Some driving clips, some driving videos. I have had this truck at the racetrack, so definitely want to tune in for that. So I mean, give this video a like if you like these medium duty trucks. And again, I'm trying to bust out some content on these units. I can't seem to find much on the internet for them, so I guess I'm that guy. I'll try and do what I can here with these trucks. They are my favorite. Let's take a peek inside. Doors are in decent shape. I did fail to talk about this problematic area on my initial walk down of the other unit. So kind of, you know, this is coming down from the roof line, which above the windshield and this area are, in my opinion, kind of related. You're getting the water flow just running over the years, and this one's pretty bad, but for what I'm using it for, it's good enough. Rocker panels are decent. Seam sealer again gone. Steps straight, but you know, rusty but not through, so that's good. But here is the comfy seat. In my opinion, if you can find one of these guys, we've got a cloth seat, charcoal, I believe, with, you know, inset pattern coming out of a newer Avalanche. And here is my favorite part of the seat, the drink holder. So Slurpees, coffees, pops, whatever you need, you're set. Now, when you go through the drive-through, your coffees, you're probably going to want to order them 3/4 full. This is not a sports car ride, I can assure you that. So if you don't want your coffee on the seat, you kind of adapt. But either way, cool to cruise around and be comfy. Let's climb into the old cab. We have the original GMC horn button. We have locked in 44,476 miles. These gauges do not work, but I have an OBD reader, and I might do another separate video on that, on how I set up a Bluetooth gauge system for this truck when I'm on the road. I've customized that to have speedometer, tachometer, water temperature, horsepower, fuel burn, and I'm missing one, but we'll cover that off. So, like I said in my other video, above the cab here, we are in much better shape. As you can see, not as bad as the one in the backyard. We have the original 2-speed axle shift instructions in very good condition. Kind of neat. I did put a new windshield in this truck, new gas kit. It is nice. Keeps all that moisture on the outside. I like the condition of this one. Like I said, the one in the backyard has that big wooden faceplate. We have a Chev factory radio. I'm sure back in the day at the dealer, they did throw in whatever they had on the shelf. Here we have the non-deluxe heater, basically a fan, 3 or 4-speed fan. Your defrost, floor kind of mid selection, and then all the way down is the floor heat. We've got vents with controllers, vent covers, and pull controls, which is kind of neat. But yeah, you know, had an extra set of mud or floor mats, the old winter guards. Those are in here. I plan to clean up the floor as best I can, maybe paint it or 415 it. I am a fan of a tinted window on these trucks. It is a very easy task to do. I cut a paper template out to size, cut my tint, and did the application. Keeps that extra heat out of the cab. We have a new stainless perimeter, let's call it silver plastic, if you will. Brand new dome light. Looking good, looking good. Yeah, you know, you can't, when I say I'm a fan of the 60 to 66, I'll take it a step further. I'm 60 to 63. You can't beat a wraparound windshield, in my opinion. So there we go. Added little touch, chrome trim. I have not seen another truck with this trim package, which is kind of neat. I put on a chrome, kind of a fake cover just to keep the water out. We've got a 15-gallon fuel cell. You know what, with this engine and trans combo, it's not too bad. I wish it was a little bit larger for a little longer range, but it works. We have the battery relocated here with a cover. What else can I tell you? The drive, obviously the first piece drive shaft has been shortened. I believe this is the original length here on the secondary. Now, to the 2-speed rear. This one is in really good shape. I don't have a lot of sweating from the pinion seal and around the bolts, and the electric solenoid for the 2-speed rear has been removed. The shop that did the work did a custom piece fabricated here, and my understanding is that whatever it needs to do, it is maintaining the position for the 583 ratio. And for you guys looking for that ratio, now I was fortunate, I don't know where I found it, but it was online somewhere. I did find an old tech sheet for these trucks. You're gonna take a wire brush and get into here, and we can see 5-83. So kind of neat to know what you're running. And tire wise, we have 7.5 20s. I believe these are the split rings, not the Widowmakers, but regardless, I still get a little nervous around these tires. They have been running since I've had them replaced, no issues. I haven't even touched the valve stem to check pressure or anything. I'm just running them as is. And we have a very solid leaf suspension in the rear. And what else can I tell you? We've redone all the brake lines. This might even be a custom one here made at a hydraulic shop for additional pressure. I'm not even sure, but either way, this rig is good to run on the highway, and I've had a lot of fun with it. And as you can see, we have started to try and promote the channel a bit. And what else can I tell you? I think we're ready to fire this thing up. I think that's all I'm gonna do is start it up for you guys, and then you'll have to stick around, and we're taking this beast to the street legal track, and I need somebody to help me video my driving and everything. So we'll get to that here before the summer's over, but let's start this thing up. There you have it, folks. That is the walk around tour of my favorite truck in the fleet, the 1961 GMC 950 5.3 4L60E. Stay tuned for some more fun content on this one. We are going to get this track at the drag strip for you to see a once-in-a-lifetime grain truck on the drag strip running passes. Hopefully we have a good night for racing, and we'll tune in soon. So thanks for watching, and talk to you guys soon. Have a good night.